Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Ogbogo.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to another episode of Shine Out Loud Show with me, Lillian Ogbogo. Yes, we know it's way past 8:10, and what can I tell you? There's stuff that happened and stuff that happened, but that's not the important part. The important part is I have the incredible Ronke Lawal next to me, and we are going to have a great show. For those of you who do not know this woman, I guess you've never been online. She is a PR specialist to creative individuals. She has built a solid brand behind excellence and helping her clients attain excellence in their branding and producing a presence, a social media presence. So join me in welcome my very, very exciting guest this evening.
Hi, thank you so much. That's a great introduction. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm glad you could make it because you had to be at another event earlier this evening.
Yeah, I was speaking on a panel. It was an all-women's event. I was speaking on a panel, and it's been a really great year, 2017, because I get invited to quite a few events to speak at. So
I like the way she's modest. I get invited to a couple of events. I get invited to a couple of boards. The other day, what board were you invited to?
Oh well, I'm joining as a director, a member of the board of the Chartered Institute of Public Relations. So I'll be a board member there.
Like she says, I get invited to things. She gets invited to stuff, people. She's very, 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 very blasé about it. Twitter Live, hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Great to have you join us. So if you have questions, come onto the Spreaker platform and I can see your questions. But it is going to be a great show. And as the kids will say, it's going to be lit. They say that. I don't. I don't. So let's start with this, Ronke. How did you get into PR?
So I started my business over 12 or 13 years ago. And when I started, it was actually an overall marketing PR, business development organization. And I was doing like all of this marketing stuff for people. But the thing that really was the winning formula was always PR. So I was always, as much as I was, creating marketing strategy and campaigns, the PR, pitching to media, pitching to press, getting press coverage for clients was the thing. And that was the thing that was actually most authentic. But I was hiding away from it because being in PR means you really have to put yourself out there. Mm-hmm. So I always used to tell people, oh, no, I don't really want to do PR. Like, I don't want to focus the business on PR because it literally means you not only are you not in front of your client, but you're looking after your client. It's very, very, you've got this deep relationship because it's public relations. Yes. So there's relationships there. And, there's a lot of things to do with PR crisis and all these things. And I kind of, out of fear, I almost moved away from it. But a few years ago, I just had an epiphany. I was like, look, this side of your business is the thing that works and works well. And so I streamlined, I rebranded my business. And it's just been the best choice because I have seen like the manifestations of so much greatness has come from literally being focused on this one area, and I know I'm good at it. So just pitching into press, getting my clients into media outlets, and making sure that their online presence and visibility is impactful. That's for me. I just love seeing my clients shine. Basically, shine out loud.
Oh, I love that. You know what? I love the fact that you're like, I'm literally good at it. No, you're not good at it, woman. You're excellent at it. You live and breathe it. I mean, just look at the quality of clients that you've had from being you. You've had clients who are doing the most innovative and creative things. So Being You is the lingerie brand for women of color, but all women, which I thought was really exciting. You've had Wild Beauty as well, which are, the source for all knowledge for everything beauty. You've just had some really incredible people.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm blessed. I get some really amazing clients. And yeah, they're just, it's really, and in any industry there's a lot of competition. So people always say, PR is quite a competitive industry or a sector, but I always feel like it's not really about competition. It's about how you put how are you putting yourself in the market, like where are you placing yourself in the market. So I just do the best I can. I don't look at competition in that way. Actually, I want everybody to win. There's enough in this world, in this universe, for us all to succeed and thrive. So, you know, I'm just blessed that I keep getting clients, and my business is just, you know, I can sustain business. I can still eat every month, pay my mortgage. I'm really blessed. Like sometimes I wake up, I'm blessed. Like I am blessed. So yeah.
You know what? I like that. You know, let's look at this. So we're talking about PR, and most people think, okay, in the age of social media, why the heck do I need a PR firm? I can go out there and become Insta famous, social media famous, Twitter famous, and everything will be fine. So in this day and age, why does a brand still need PR?
Oh, that's such a great question. Love that question. You've done your homework. Love it. Really love that question. Brands need PR because as much as social media and traditional media, so basically new media and social media is all the tech stuff. So podcast, you know, Twitter, Facebook, all of this stuff, videos, YouTube, that's new media. Whereas traditional media is the newspapers and magazines, radio, that we've all grown up with. But we can see that social media can make or break. In the same way that it can make someone famous, it can break someone's brand. And not even just someone, big businesses are falling foul of a misuse of social media, or literally just a whole bunch of angry customers going online and, you know, tweeting their dissatisfaction, and then you have to issue a statement or an apology. So that really focuses on the crisis side of PR. So you need a PR agency that can help you to navigate through a crisis and actually navigate through dynamic platforms. You don't just want to be... Yes, people can be, you know, Twitter famous or Instagram famous, but you don't just want to be just that. And actually, if you look at the most successful online celebrities, so even the YouTube stars or the Instagrammers or the people who go viral on Twitter, they get media coverage on other avenues and other platforms. So you can't just rely on one. So it really is about being dynamic and having multiple platforms and sources of coverage to leverage your brand.
Now, you've touched on something, and we were going to touch on this a little later, but you touched on the crisis point, the crisis work that PR does. And when we look at the brands that have fallen foul, I mean, Pepsi, recently, Shea Moisture, you know, just to name two, because Dove will be the third one, and the list could go, could go on. Now, looking at these brands and when they fall foul, now one of the things, the old adage was, you know, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But looking at the age that we're in, and we keep talking about the age of social media, does that adage still stand? Because saying that there's no such thing as bad publicity.
No, and I don't even know where this thing... I mean, I know where it came from, but it just bugs me so much. And what it's causing is people now think that when a brand makes a mistake, they're doing it on purpose, so it's intentional. And yes, there's a few times when a brand does something because they want to be quirky or hip and it falls foul. But most of the time, it literally is because that brand does not... They've signed off on an insensitive advert because they're not diverse, so they're not inclusive. Or, you know, they just misread how it was going to be, you know, how the response. And so fundamentally, even if something goes viral or gets lots of publicity, that is definitely not a good thing, because you can find alternatives, you know, unless it literally is life or death where you can't find an alternative medicine or something. You can find, you know, so with the Dove situation, unless literally Dove is something that you need for medical purposes, when you saw that they were doing what they were doing, and you saw the advert was inappropriate, or you saw anything that you feel as a person that's not right as a member of the public, because remember, it's PR, it's public relations. If you feel that you can no longer relate to this brand and they've done something wrong, then you can definitely find another alternative. And actually, it's about credibility. So even if, like, people go, oh, it's gone viral, it's amazing. No, if the credibility of a brand has been impacted, then what's to say that I'm going to keep going back and repeat my business or custom with them? And I just feel like this whole issue of, bad publicity, every publicity is, no, it really is not. And that's such an old school mentality, and it actually allowed for the rise of tabloid media and that whole kind of, you know, dirty journalism where let's get the bad stuff. No, you've really got to start to think more consciously, because look at the world we're living in now. and look at even who's president of the US and how he got in.
Let's not talk about the orange person. I try not to on a weekly basis. I fail, but let's not talk about the orange person because the orange person is really, the orange person's interesting, but let's not go there. But you said something that's really important. You said about, brands learning from their mistake. But let's look at a brand like Pepsi. Mm-hmm. When they made that giant boo-boo of a commercial, that wasn't the first time.
No, it wasn't. I think they got so hyped with. You see, the thing with, and this is the issue of social media, people are get so caught up by follow account and. So the person they chose, the models, it was a Jenner, wasn't it? One of the Kardashians or a Jenner.
Yeah, it was a Jenner Kardashian combo.
Yes.
Yeah, it was something.
Because she's got one of the biggest platforms in terms of social media influence, they just saw it as, of course she's going to appeal to this white, she's a millennial. And so they literally thought, oh no, we're not. And because of the issue of police brutality and using protests as a form of societal change, all these things, they thought, yeah, we do. But you can literally, I feel like, is it the fact that there's nobody in those teams that can just say, oh, that's just.
I can literally see themselves high-fiving themselves, going, yeah, we got this right.
Yeah.
And then when it hit and Black Twitter came back, they were like,
yeah. Isn't it interesting?
Brad, didn't you read the figures?
But isn't it interesting you've used the terminology Black Twitter? And that's another thing about owning narratives and how you as listeners who are listening to this podcast, you can understand that even a descriptor of Black Twitter, it shows as a collective there were voices that were underrepresented. And they're now using social media platforms like Twitter. Exactly. So whereas they were underrepresented in media, they weren't getting good positive images on all of the traditional media, TV. Now you've got the opportunity to use Twitter to kind of change a narrative. And that's why Black Twitter is so important and why it's so influential. And actually that's why a podcast like this is so important, because you're not waiting for a mainstream radio show to give you a platform. You are using technology to give yourself a platform and to change narratives about excellence, especially in the Black community.
Thank you. I mean, the fact, and that's important because you talked about the narrative. If we don't own our own narrative, we can't change our stories. And which is why when I look at your website and the narrative that your clients have is that of doing social good. Your clients have this narrative of building brands that empower, support, and grow others. And that seems to be the narrative of your business. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think because PR's had a bad reputation of being, it's a bit like how people describe estate agents, or I don't know. I feel like PR doesn't get the best rep, and because there's a lot of misunderstanding and people don't always know what it is. So, but I always feel like there's so much power in PR, and I wish more. And that's why I just teach people. I write content on my blogs, on my website, and share, and I try and attract the kinds of clients that are conscious to how society works, and they want to. They're all in business, so they're not necessarily charities, but they want to see society do well and do better. And I feel like just coming from an authentic place, that's the only way to really thrive in this world, I feel.
No, and that's true. I think there's more people who are coming to the place of conscious capitalism, because when we are conscious about how we make our money, who we are making money from and for, it changes the dynamic. So I think that conscious capitalism, because there's still people saying, oh, but money is a problem, but it's how you make the money.
It's how you make that money. And you see, this is the thing, like if you're a good person this is my catchphrase. I'm sure I might have heard it from an elder, but it's always good to be good. So it's always going to be days we have bad days. You can be angry. Sometimes you're mean to people. That's just we're human.
That's life.
That's life. But if you look at this whole situation with the Me Too campaign and the backlash with Harvey Weinstein and all these women who are coming out and actually speaking their truth and being brave, if you look at it, all these powerful people, powerful men who felt that they were untouchable because they had all this money and influence and power, they are now being they're being toppled over, like literally. You know what I mean? Even is it Uncle Rush? I call him Uncle. Why is it Uncle? Yeah, his Twitter handle is Uncle Rush. Russell Simmons.
Yeah,
so even he had an allegation.
He had an allegation recently that came out. But speaking of powerful men, the most powerful man in PR died a few days ago, and died in infamy because of he was toppled.
In the UK. So Max Clifford, he was one of the gatekeepers of PR, and that he was very much about celebrity PR and getting that story, and his clients could be quite controversial, and he was another one of that ilk who in the UK when the sex allegations came out, sexual harassment allegations came out, he was and he was rightfully so imprisoned when it turned out that actually you had been quite inappropriate, more than inappropriate actually, it was disgusting. But with those, that's what I say, it's good to be good, because it always, whatever's done in darkness comes to light. So even with sometimes, especially when I miss out on prospective clients, I just look back and watch. Not that I'm not in a bad way, but I just wait and see how their own PR campaigns are going to play out. Because if all you really care about is the money, which I like money. So if people listening don't get me wrong, I love money actually. But it's a flow. It's not something. Money doesn't control me. I control money.
Right.
So you have to figure out how you can build your business consciously, and not just it's all about money and not care about humanity. Which
it's the conscious capitalism that we're talking about. Now we started the show on how to build a solid social brand, how to build a solid brand. So if and what people may not know is that you actually do workshops and you teach, and you're actually teaching people how to build brands. What's the top 3 things that the lay person who's just starting a business, what's the top 3 things that they need to do today to get their brand moving?
Wow, that's a really good. So I'd say the first thing is look at yourself. Look at yourself. Literally look in the mirror and look at yourself and do a critical analysis of yourself. This is going to sound really superficial, but how do you want to be seen? How are you dressing? How's your, and sometimes people say it's superficial, but sometimes people say it doesn't matter. But truly, how you present yourself, as authentically as it can be, is a reflection of how you feel on the inside.
Yeah.
So figure it out. I'm not saying change yourself to look like somebody else. I'm saying be the best you that you can be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Tidy yourself up. That's number one. So look at yourself really, truly, and do a critical analysis. Throw out those old clothes. If things are out there that are not serving you, just don't do your hair. If you need to do your hair, whatever you choose to do, but do it. Then I'd say do something that's going to build your confidence. If you're not a confident person, do something that's going to build your confidence. So book a photo shoot. You can book that now. You can literally go online. There's so many photographers. Book a photo shoot. Get out there and do something that's going to take you out of your comfort zone, make you feel more brave and alive about, with yourself.
Okay.
And then the third and final thing is to do because the issue is about a social brand, do a social media audit. Really check your social media and decide which ones serve you and which ones you can be a bit more active on. I'm not expecting you to be active on all of them all the time. And I'm not even expecting you to be active on one every single day. But what I am expecting you to do is understand how social media can have a positive impact on your personal brand and your business, and then start to get into the habit of just using it for your purposes. Social media should not control you. You control social media.
Again, I'm taking mental notes because I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to do myself? Now, I think that's actually very important, and you've just touched on something about the control factor behind social media, and that's another thing. You have young businesses coming up, and they believe the Insta-fame hype. They believe, the numbers mean the money and mean the fame, and they start to they don't see the curation behind the social media, and then they feel like they're inadequate. They feel less than. They feel like what they're doing is not enough. So, as a woman who is literally, you have almost the backdoor view on some of these things, and what advice would you give people?
Right. So, first of all, with social media, it's patience. Sorry, I feel like I'm dying of having to say it, but people get so caught up looking at each other, looking at how many retweets each other's getting, how many followers, and blah, 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 blah. And it takes the fun out. It sucks the fun out of social media. So just be patient. All great things in life take time. All of your favorite social media influencers, they built their following, hopefully, authentically, just from dedication and time. So just be patient. Next, really think about the content you're putting out there. I always believe that you can be yourself freely and be authentic, but I also feel like if you're saying you want to be an influencer, in what area are you trying to influence specifically? What are you trying to influence in? And are you trying to emulate so if we're using an example of individual influencers who are maybe fashion influencers, are you just trying to take pictures and what are the quality of your images? Are you looking at the quality of your content? Are you doing the work? Because the successful influencers, the ones who are getting paid and hopefully aren't paying for followers, I just can't understand anybody who'd buy followers. But the ones who are getting paid are the ones who've taken their time to look at the quality of their content. It's like editorial, it's like a magazine, it's like anything in media, literally anything in media. You think about the quality of your content. Now, that's not to say it has to be perfect all the time.
No.
But what that is to say is, what is your strategy, especially if you're going to take it up a notch and it's a serious, game changer in your life. Really think about the content. And like I said, I think I already alluded to this. Just don't try and speed up the process by buying followers. I don't know why people do that.
Well, again, I think it's that impatience. Then it's also the fact. Well, the numbers will bring. It's like build it and they will come. So if I have this many numbers, then that will drive people. It's the mentality.
And actually, sorry to just to hit on. You've hit on something. Build it and they will come. Yeah, build it. They will come when you do the work for them to come. They're not going to just. And this is the frustrating thing. People just aren't doing the work. Like, they'll put stuff out there and they're not. You've got to promote and be multi-platform, so dimensional. Use multi-platform. So if you've got a YouTube channel, make sure you share a link on at least 2 other social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter or something else. Just make sure, you know what I mean, to make sure you widen your audience.
So, you're talking about these are the first few things to do to grow. And then businesses are saying, well, in this age in, social media and everything, I'm learning how to grow. I can learn how to do anything on YouTube. Why do I have to pay for PR? There's still people that ask those questions. But can I afford it? Is it really worth it? So when you encounter those objections, what's the first thing that you say to the client?
I say congratulations and well done because I don't like stress. And actually, I've got facilities on my website, my business website. You can buy an e-guide that teaches you how to write a press release, for example. Right. And because if you are gonna I'm about it, and you, even with all the information that says why you should assign a freelance PR or a PR agency or a publicist or whoever, if you have all that information, you still then learn how to do it yourself. And it's, I am not the kind of person to try to grab everything. If you can do it yourself, then do it. I've got videos on my YouTube channel to teach you the real basics of what PR is and how to interact on social. So I just feel like there's so many things that you can learn, crisis management, and you can learn, and if you can figure it out, do it. But my thing as well is, if you can outsource it, if you're good at one thing, I don't know why you're trying to do every single thing. I don't know. If you can outsource it. But if you want to do it yourself, do it yourself.
I guess it's really the myth behind the entrepreneurial magic. As the entrepreneur, you're the dishwasher, the MD, the floor sweeper. You're supposed to do everything yourself. I think that's another kind of line that we've been sold as well.
Yeah, and it's this is a thing, right? And there's this whole philosophy about 9 to 5, and why get into business because you shouldn't be a 9 to 5. And I've been in business for a long time.
I need to high five you for that one, please. And
I've been in business for a long time, and I just feel like being in business is not as glamorous as. I don't know who's been hyping it. Maybe the wrong people have been hyping. I love being in business. Well, yeah, I think so. on these celebrity entrepreneurs, and I think honestly, once you make it in your own personal kind of journey, yeah, of course, it's amazing. But to get there, it's like anything. So for me,
blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, and it's the same. And I believe like you can have a side hustle, you can have a business to the side, and not necessarily quit your main job. If you love your main job, do not at any. I remember I met this woman at this event. And she almost felt guilty for going back. She was self-employed, she was going to go back into work, but it was a dream job. It was a kind of job that she knew that she just had to do it, but she felt guilty because, she was self-employed and she had her own... And I was like, sis, please take that job. That regular paycheck. No, take it. I was like, wait, if you don't take that job, I'll take it. I'll learn how to do your job.
No, seriously. But you say that, and there's some people, especially in the personal development industry, they make out like having a day job is the equivalent of leprosy.
No, God, why?
You should be embarrassed and blah, blah, blah.
But then if you
I remember it was John, I don't know if you've ever heard this woman, Australian speaker, Jonah Martin. She then said, well, I'll tell you what's embarrassing. Not being able to pay your light bill. That's embarrassing. What's embarrassing is having to be an adult and go to your parents and go, can you pay my rent, please?
Right.
That's embarrassing.
Right.
She goes, stop drinking the Kool-Aid, get up your butt, go get a job, and that you can use to support yourself and your business.
Exactly. And actually, if everybody quit their 9 to 5, who'll be working in people's businesses?
Exactly.
It's like we'd all be invoicing each other forever. It doesn't even make any sense. No, enjoy your life. And if you find something you're passionate about, you can put a price tag on your passion and start a business on the side until you're ready to start the business full time. But be ready for the fact that it's not, this glamorous thing where you're going out and buying champagne every day. No.
What? Your life is not like that?
It is small.
But your accolades go, they begin to read like a who's who. You've been on Sherry Blair's mentoring program. You mentor for Sherry Blair. You've done quite a few things.
Okay, thanks. Mentoring is a really important part of my business journey, actually. And the funny thing is, I talk about it, but I like to see my mentees flourish by themselves. So as I'm mentoring them, I don't necessarily say, "Oh, my mentee did this great thing today," because what it does, it almost makes it seem as if I take away their glory. I don't know. For me personally, what I'll do is I'll hype them just normally, naturally, like my little sisters, right? Mm-hmm. So I love mentoring, and I think it's really, and I think the reason why I love mentoring so much is I wish I had been mentored myself. It's funny because I've kind of skipped. I've had mentors in the past, but not at the present. I probably should start looking for one. But for me, it's that authentic giving back that doesn't. Yeah, it's just seeing people, because most of the time my mentees are teaching me. I don't necessarily. It might be listening now. I don't necessarily tell them, but I'm in the back of them, I'm taking notes. Like, oh yeah, I'm giving them the counsel, the advice, and in the back of them, I'm thinking, oh yeah, because you learn so much from teaching and giving.
No, and that's really great because, and I like the fact that you're saying it's, you don't go in there and go, yeah, my mentees and make it about you, not them. So, which is actually quite powerful. So again, yeah, well done you. In fact, we need to do this for you because I think, just so that you understand how amazing we think you are.
That's awesome.
We absolutely think you're amazing.
Thank you, sweetheart.
So, you're a mentor, you're a teacher, you're on video, and the things that you do that seem so natural to you. So, if you look back on your journey so far, what would you change?
Oh, very good question. Isn't that $1 million question? £1 million, euro? What currency are we in? I would.
Currency, Bitcoins.
Oh gosh, yeah, Bitcoin. I would have the rebrand. I think if I had stepped out of my own way, I would have rebranded sooner. But then it's good. It's life lessons and journeys because even back then there were times like I said, it's over 12 years, 13 years. There were times where I was underselling myself. And so I feel like I would have made sure that I recognized my own value sooner. Really. So I charge, it's not, that's why I don't stress because I feel God blesses me without me. I don't, when I start to worry and stress about stuff, I'm like, I have to take a minute to be like, what is wrong with you? Because I've gone through a lot worse. So if I feel like, oh no, I'm not getting enough prospective clients or this or that, I'm always blessed. I always feel like I'm blessed, so I never get too stressed anymore. And don't get me wrong, things don't always go right. But what's helped over the past few years, is knowing my worth and value. And I never neglect. Like I don't undersell myself anymore. Like you want to pay me, you don't want to pay me. You don't want to pay me, go. I don't try and hold on to every single client.
So knowing your worth.
I really wish I'd got that sooner. Yeah.
That's a good message, and I think that's a lesson that we all, not just those coming up behind you, everyone can learn. Because some days we get in that trap and think we start to negotiate on what we are worth, and so that's always an interesting topic. And you mentioned something about things not going right, and this is an important thing. Again, I'm going to go back to social media because this is what we're kind of keeping on with social media. And I am the first person to put my hand. I love my social media. Instagram, you may think I'm ragging on you, but that's not true. I do love you sometimes. I do. We have a love kind of relationship. I do love social media because it has the power to create platforms. But with social media, they show a side. They show this side of things going great and things working. But what do you do when things don't work? How do you bounce back from failure?
Well, how do we bounce back from failure? You have to. I think you have to take your time out. So switch off, both offline and online. Literally, take your time out for lots of self-care. And actually, there's nothing wrong. Sometimes you have to just let it out. So if you're crying, if you're hurt, if you're shout, sometimes just let it all out. I know some people might not agree, but I don't like the idea of being embarrassed or feeling ashamed because you cry, you're angry, and you're swearing at you're swearing in your living room or whatever, your office or whatever. So I just feel like just let your authentic emotions out. Detox your body. Once that's out, then you can do the thing that you love that's going to bring your natural reserves, your emotional reserves back, your spiritual reserves back. So whatever that might be, prayer, meditation, reading, walk, exercise, anything, eating. In my case, it's eat. I love to eat. Just anything that's going to make you feel, know. And then, really learn from the failure.
Yeah.
Learn the lesson. Don't let your ego think it was all about the external, them. Think, what is it about you or your business or your brand that caused this? And what can you learn from it to move forward? Because no failure. I think people run away from failure too much. And that's why, they share all these great stories. But I think sharing those down sometimes authentically, even in conversation, you don't even have to do it socially, just in conversation, talking to each other, really empowers you to look intrinsically at how you can develop and grow for the future.
But if some of the greatest stories that we talk about today all started in failure.
Of course, yes.
We won't have the light bulb if not for one man's failure over 999 times.
Exactly.
We won't have KFC if not for someone's failure. Like it or loathe it. But the thing is, we forget that failure is practice and progress.
I like that.
And if we don't practice, we can't get to perfection or we can't get to excellence.
I love that. That's a really good. That's a nice message. Yes. You should tweet that. That's a lovely message. Just really tweet.
We will. In fact, why don't you tweet that?
I will.
So the thing is, looking back and with everything you've done, your journey so far, what is the one thing? In fact, let's hold that question and come back to it, because I think just looking at the time, I think we should talk about your so loud moment for the week.
Oh.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
Example.
So your so loud moment is basically you're going to tell us who, what, why, someone you choose to celebrate. To shine the light on for their greatness. It could be one of your mentees, one of your clients.
There's a lot of people. How can I even? There's a lot of people. But there's someone who actually you know her, but I spent some time with her yesterday. She's the founder of a website called Aphrodisiac. So it's the UK's only African Caribbean website. It's been going for 9 years. It'll be 10 next year. Her name is Sophia A. Jackson. And I just admire the fact that she created this platform in a space where, specifically in the UK, where, underrepresented voices, so specifically black voices in theatre. Because theatre, the UK is quite an elitist. We know it's very class-driven and elitist. So theatre is quite a posh and, and there's always been this thing that black people don't go to the theatre.
Yes.
And Sophia, with Aphrodisiac, has managed to disprove this and create this brand and this platform that really, I don't think it gets enough recognition or kudos. And the fact that she's celebrating her 10 years next year, it just says a lot about not only the fact that, yes, black people enjoy plays in the theatre, it also says that we are here, we're visible. Yes. And there's so many platforms like that just don't get enough kudos. And if we don't, and this is the thing, it's not about denying or saying that we're trying to be separate from white Brits or anything. We're actually proud, being black British is what we're here, right? Yeah. But this is the thing, we just want to give ourselves platforms where we are visible, and without platforms like that, and even platforms like this, we wouldn't always get that visibility because unfortunately mainstream media doesn't always give us that visibility.
And you know what, you're absolutely right. And I think the fact that she's been going for almost 10 years, and this is way before, because I remember when she started, way before the blogging phenomenon really took off. She started literally a very long time ago. I think just to also celebrate her tenacity.
Yes, see, this is it. And like you just hit the nail on the head. Before, blogging was really, and she just kept on going, keeps on going. We need to celebrate her and many others like her who are doing things specifically for the community, African and Caribbean diaspora community in the UK, making sure that we're visible in a time when people don't always want us to be visible, unfortunately.
Yep, no, I agree, and I think that is definitely worthy of cheers again.
Yeah.
I love this song.
It's great.
Yeah. So now, I think Sophia A. Jackson, we duff our hats to you. Well done, and celebrate 10 years, and we're looking forward to another 10 years, and for your business to grow exponentially. So keep at it, and we might get you on the platform to come and talk to us.
Yay!
So my I'm gonna do my Colombo thing. So I have one more question.
Oh wow! I like Colombo. I love Colombo.
What advice would you give a young entrepreneur coming up saying, I want to create a PR firm that is both ethical, that is both conscious, and also creative? What advice would you give them?
Wow, well, they've already kind of answered the question within the question. The fact that you can be so specific in terms of what it is that you want from your PR firm is commendable. I don't know if many people could have that level of kind of focus, so I like that. I like the fact that this in this scenario, this would-be entrepreneur is so specific. But what I would say is stay true to your goals. I'd say that you're the right clients. When you start to shape and model your business and grow, the right clients will come to you.
Okay.
And just keep, you've got just sort of keep at it, because PR can be tough. People don't realise how tough it can be. It looks like a really fun and fabulous industry, but it can be quite draining as well. So make sure that you get a lot of self-care and take some moment, and make sure that you take some downtime for yourself. But just keep going. You can. It's not impossible. I don't think. It's every single business, and not just PR, can be conscious and can be, can be creative, wholesome and creative. It's just about your willingness not to conform. Because I think everybody wants to conform to a social kind of, this is what it's supposed to look like. No, design something. Because the most successful businesses and even entrepreneurs, the reason they're so successful because they've designed things that do not conform to.
They've broken the mold.
Exactly. And this is where when you hear any naysayers, it's because they're scared of your journey. They're scared of what you're about to create. So just break through those barriers and just keep going. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. She's told you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared now. You can do it. She's told you. And she has the battle wounds to prove it. So yes. And for our final Colombo piece, one more question. And you touched in it, because this is actually an important question I ask everybody who comes on. How do you personally self-care?
Oh, wow. Gosh. So I have my conversations with the Most High. So I have my conversations with God. So I pray. Okay. Just like, sometimes it literally is like he's my daddy. He's my big daddy. I'm just like, what's going on? Sometimes you just have a conversation. It's not always about getting on your knees. It's literally just having a conversation, and that those moments of silence where you're just like, okay, let me just ground myself and get back to that centerpiece and that focus. Then it's a food. I love food. Even right now, I'm thinking about food, and it's not even that I'm particularly hungry, but I love food. What is that about, Lily?
I mean, without food, there's no life. Plus, we are at an amazing place. At our venue partners, Kata Kata, they do the best crepes in South London.
I enjoy my food, and I enjoy cooking. Food is brilliant. I just love it. For me, that's part of self-care, and I like cooking. So it's not even about. I don't do no judgment to anybody who does, but I don't do takeaways all the time. What I'll do is, if I'm going to go and eat out, I eat out at a nice proper restaurant, unless it's a real dash and you have to find something to take away. But I like to cook at home and eat at home and just, and explore. And then I guess finally for me, it literally is just doing things that just bring me joy. So traveling and, reading a book or listening to something like music or watching some, trash TV. There's a lot of judgment about trash TV, but can I just say, when you're watching something like The Real Housewives, you can switch off every
brain cell you have.
Sometimes I'll be like, where did that 45 minutes go? Because my brain is gonna be. I'll be Like, I'm really invested, but not in an emotion. It's just like, because they take away, they absorb the outside external pressures of life. And I'm watching these people, these grown women bickering. I love it.
I have to be honest. My trash TV is Judge Judy.
Oh, I haven't watched Judge Judy.
Oh.
She's still on.
Yes.
Good on you, Judge. I love you, Judge.
Judinator just... Get out of my court.
Don't we have our own UK version?
Yeah, no, it's not as good. It's not as good.
If you're listening to Judge Ryder, still, we'll try not to get. We won't. Definitely, I won't see you on that show.
Judge Rinder, personally, it's not an attack, but you just don't have the wit of the Judinators. I'm so sorry. You were great on Dancing on Ice.
Funny.
We've just had a question come in. So saying, hi, Lillian and Ronke, great show thus far. What are the results of going with bad PR firm doing your own PR badly? So let me...
that's a really good question, Norman. Nice to... Hello, Norman, if you're watching, and thanks for tuning in. What are the results of going with a bad PR firm / doing your own PR badly? Well, it really... I think you can tell when a PR campaign isn't quite hitting the mark because it's inauthentic. And so if you go for it... I'm trying to be diplomatic, so I don't want to say bad PR, but PR firms that aren't always good are the ones who literally don't explain the process and they don't manage expectations. Right. I've had so many potential clients who come to me after having been through 1, 2, 3 sometimes PR firms and being burnt, and then they decide not to go forward because they've been burnt. The process hasn't been explained to them, the expectations haven't been managed. Either the client's expectations are too high, and then the PR firm hasn't really told them actually just. Let's manage it. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily going to get mainstream media coverage, or you're not necessarily going to go viral. I don't know why people assume that they're going to go viral with a PR firm. No, you don't. But people pay, because sometimes these PR firms will just take money without. Maybe I'm a little bit too conscious that I like to make sure that my clients' expectations are managed. Now, when it comes to managing your own PR, if you do it badly, I think it really is. I always go back to this issue of crisis as well, crisis communications or crisis management. So you can always tell when someone's flapping about. I've seen people things have gone wrong and they're getting customer complaints on all platforms, and what they do is they go silent or they start blocking their customers. That's when you know you're doing your own PR badly. There was another really good example of an organisation that has a studio in Peckham, which is becoming a gentrified area. They gave an interview to one of the biggest media platforms in the UK. Right. So that's great PR for this organisation. And then they didn't hire a PR firm; they did it themselves. They had this interview directly with a journalist. But when they quoted they said something that was offensive to the local demographic of Peckham.
Would it be the yoga studio?
Yeah, I'll let you say it.
Oh.
They said something that was insensitive.
About the black churches and the noise.
The West African churches.
The noise was just, unbearable. And I'm like, wait, you came into a place that was already established. These churches were there.
And this is the response of every, and I get it, sometimes you're speaking your truth, and I don't want people to feel like, you've got to censor yourself at every corner, but that was their truth. But unfortunately, they didn't think that, hold on, we're here, we've moved into an area that's known, the demographic is high, church-going demographic, and you moved into this space. So they gave this interview, the backlash was literally what you had just said, you've just given the really good example of the backlash. They just didn't know how to manage it correctly. So they issued about 2 or 3 statements. And then in one of the final statements, it was so interesting. So it's a great question that you've asked here, Norman. So interesting. They said, we've never done this PR thing before. We never hired a PR firm. So we're making mistakes. Because they just never knew their apologies for causing offence just never came across as authentic. Yeah, and I think you can definitely learn. Just think. You can learn how to apologise for, and it was a really good example of PR because they clearly did it themselves. Great job. Huge media coverage. But the interviews, that I don't think they had good media training, wasn't so great. And then subsequent social media backlash so it was a traditional media platform, a newspaper.
It was
online as well.
I think it was the Evening Standard.
Or the Guardian, Evening Standard.
The Evening Standard, so it was everywhere.
Yeah, right? So traditional, mainstay. And then it moves on to social media where everybody has a voice now. So then you have to be able to balance it out. And then they have to issue a traditional apology more than once because the first two or first one just wasn't. And then in the end, I think they delete. I can't remember what happened. They asked the journalist to edit the interview, which they did a little bit. Which again shows you that if somebody does their own PR badly, it flops. And that's not to say if a PR firm as well might make those kind of mistakes, but it helps when you have people who know and would have seen it. It's a great question.
Okay, so I think that's very important, is knowing how to apologize when you're wrong and actually how to set things straight. And if there's any brand currently that have been in crisis in the last year that you could actually say, let me take this on for you and fix, what brand would it be?
Oh, that's a good idea. There's so many, and if I say it, I'm going to start thinking about it too much, and I want that money. I'm joking. Do you know? I think, and this is going to be contentious. I think Sheer Moisture.
I was just thinking that.
I think Sheer Moisture would be an interesting one. I get what they were trying to do actually in the advert, and that's not to say that they're not allowed to diversify. The advert in which they showed, it was quite they showed different women from different races, but people felt that the black women, so particularly African American, because that's where they're based, they felt that they were raised from that advert. So I feel like just how you explain it, and the CEO, he did come out and give a number of interviews to explain why and how. I got it. There was a way they could have done it. I felt that could have been a bit much better. And now they've been bought up by Unilever.
Yes.
Which is the umbrella company that owns Dove and other organisations.
I don't think that didn't help. Now
they say again that they're going to be standalone. So even though they've bought in, the structure's going to remain the same. It's just about the profit shares, right? So it literally is. They're still going to be Sheer Moisture. They're still going to, but it is about how are you telling your, because it's public relations, right? So the relationships you built with your public. Yeah. How are you feeding that into your public? And I would love to work on that. I don't know if they ever hear this, but if they do, hit me up, especially in the UK. I don't think organisations, especially Sheer Moisture, do a good enough job of speaking to the women, particularly the African Caribbean diaspora in the UK, enough. They really don't. They overlook.
And I think, you know what, you've actually touched on a point, and I would love to go down that road with you. But that's why you have a lot of brands who have come to you who are now independently creating their own hairlines, their own makeup, because we're not being spoken to. And so we're like, well, okay, fair enough, we'll do it ourselves.
Do it yourself, yeah.
So yes. And our final question, which is a quick follow-up, how do you keep a straight face with clients during a duh moment?
I like to laugh, as you can tell through the course of this interview. So I'm a queen of diplomacy. I really do my best. I've always liked to say, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be an ambassador. I think I'd be a great ambassador. So any countries that need a British Nigerian ambassador to somewhere, I'll just be great, because I know how to just
Nigeria needs a good ambassador.
I know how to hold myself. I can be very honest, and I believe that there's no point in, we've got to be human. And I have to be like, look, guys, like if there is a dome rope, like don't just be like, guys, let's all laugh about it and fine. Let's not get too stiff about it. But yeah, Nigeria should hire me. I don't know. Everybody really should be hiring me. I don't
so Ronke for president.
of where? Nigeria? Yeah. Oh, sis, I don't know.
You're like, I'm not here for that.
That's a big PR. Brand Nigeria is a big. I would love to do a PR campaign just for Nigeria. Just literally brand Nigeria. Even if it was travel or something. But if they gave me something to do where I could help with the narrative of Nigeria, man, I would love it, because Nigeria needs something.
A new narrative.
It really does. It really does.
Okay, and on that note, I'm going to say thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And one more question.
Okay.
One more question. How can people find you? Just for the people who don't know where to go to get a hold of you, how can they find you?
Oh, they can find me everywhere. So ronkelawal.com, RONKELAWAL.com, and then my name again. Twitter, if you just search Facebook, Ronke Lawal, if you search everything. I'm not on everything, but...
So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and her own website, you can find her. And, you should check out her upcoming classes for 2018, basically how to present to media, how to write your own press releases. And hey, if you don't want to write it, she's a woman for you.
Thank you so much. It was fun.
You're so welcome. So thank you for being on the show. To all those in Twitterland, thank you for watching, and we'll be here same time, same place, and looking forward to it. And oh my God, 2018 is around the corner.
Wow, yeah. Happy New Year in advance.
Oh yes. Well, let's start with Merry Christmas and then Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
So thank you so much for listening, and it's a wrap.
Yay.
What's going on? If you're enjoying today's show, don't forget to check out our website at www.shineoutloud.tv. And we'd definitely appreciate it if you subscribe to the show and leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes too. Thank you.